Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Hayomi Maseches NIDAH Daf Lamed Zayin. We begin 5 lines from the top of the Amud. Boy Rabba. Rabba would like to know as follows. As we learned yesterday, the Pasuk teaches us an Isha who experiences dam, which is accompanied by labor pains due to the upcoming labor event, that dam will not affect her, will not make her a zava. Even though ordinarily an Isha sees dam 3 days in a row, she becomes a zava, which requires observing Shiva Nekiyim, 7 clean days. In this case, no issue, because unlike an ordinary einus, something which can be attributed to some external trigger like overeating, overexertion, which by a man, by the way, if he would have a ziva, an emission due to such a causation, it would be discounted, it wouldn't affect him, it wouldn't make him a zav. By an isha, it will. She doesn't have that einus discount, but later, a birth experience is grand event. Any dam which is attributed to that event, such as dam which is accompanying labor pains in anticipation leading up to a later, that dam is discounted and cannot make her a zava. But it could make her a NIDAH, meaning only if it took place during the time of the month where they're called Yimei Ziva, where she could become a zava. In that case, dam of kishu, dam of labor pangs is not going to impact her, but it could make her a NIDAH. So during the time of the month where she can become a NIDAH, but Amos is an Isha sees dam, she's tummy for 7 days as a NIDAH, then follows 11 days where she could become a Zava. So during Yimei Ziva, dam of Koshi, no impact, no effect. But during Yimei NIDAH, there's no discount of Koshi by Yimei NIDAH, as we learned yesterday. Now comes a question. So Koshi, which again is a term referring to dam accompanied by labor pangs, cannot establish her as a Zava. But let's say she's already a Zava from before. She saw dam 3 days in a row. She's in the middle of counting the 7 clean days, and boom, there she has Koshi, preceding a later. Will it disrupt the Shiva Nekiyim or not? Boy Robert, Koshi, the dam which she sees as a Koshi experience, Mausha Tister, will it disrupt the 7-day count of a Zava? Typically, dam which shows up during Shiva Nekiyim cancels the whole Shiva Nekiyim, but here, perhaps it's different. On the one hand, you can say, well, this dam is something that can theoretically make her tummy if it were to occur during Yimei NIDAH, so it has to be reckoned with, and it could disrupt the Shiva Nekiyim as well. Or, on the other hand, you can say, this dam has no say regarding Ziva. It cannot establish her as a Zava. So likewise, by the same token, it cannot disrupt the Ziva experience. It can't disrupt the Shiva Nekiyim, which is part of the Ziva journey. Shall we say davar hamatami, something which can cause tuma in any which way, so will disrupt. V'hainami matami, b'mei NIDAH, likewise this dam, although he has no say regarding Ziva, but he does regarding NIDAH, b'mei NIDAHu, and therefore, if he shows up now, he's a player and disrupts the Shiva Nekiyim. Or you can say, no, regarding Ziva, in the context of a Zava, he's not a player. Only something which can cause, which can be used to establish, initially to establish a Ziva. So likewise, if he shows up in the middle of Shiva Nekiyim, he cuts it down. But here, dam of Koshi is not an element in establishing Ziva. Likewise, we discount him here as well. Amalei Abaye. Why should you link the two things? It seems to me that things are not really connected. Oynes bezav yechich. I'll prove it to you from a zav, a man who's a zav. How did he become a zav? He had an emission, he had ziva. Now, if it were to happen through an oynes, we said before, he doesn't have to reckon with this ziva. It doesn't make him tummy. But suppose he's already an established zav and he's now observing Shiva Nekiyim, and he has a re'iyah, he has an emission which can be attributed to an oynes. It disrupts. It does. That's the fact. Rashi brings the Gemara. We had this earlier. Once he's a zav, the ziva that shows up in any which way affects him. So you see, the two things are not linked. Likewise, by the isha, the dam of kishu, although it cannot establish ziva, but he's a factor at play when it shows up in Mila Shiva Nakim. That will disprove this linkage between the establishment and disruption. He can't establish Ziva, but he will disrupt the Shiva Nakim. Amalei. Responds Rav La'ai, actually, why do you think that a Ziva came about through Einis cannot be used to establish Ziva? Actually, it could. So, although the first and second Ziva has to come naturally, but once he's on that track, times 3, which actually makes him a full Zav, which requires to bring a carbon, even if it happened through Einis, it's reckoned with. And likewise, it can disrupt the Shiva Nakim. This now, what do we find that the third time around? It has an impact, has effect, despite being a Einis. This non Rishona. So times 1, but you have to check and see the origin. And if it's an Einis, we discount it. The same thing the second time, but not the third time. We don't care how it happened. Okay, so there's your answer, Abaye. Why does a Ziva Ba'inus disrupt Shiva Nakim? Because it's an element used in establishing Ziva. Asks the Gemara, but according to Rabbi Eliezer, who seems to hold that Ziva, which happened through Einus, is discounted altogether. Even times 3, we have to check and see how it happened, because if it's Ba'inus, we discounted. So again, working with this linkage, are you going to suggest that since it cannot be used to establish Ziva, it will also not disrupt the Shiva Nakim? Amalei says, yep. Actually, yes. You're right. So it turns out that, according to the Rabbanon, an Einis Beziva can establish, so it can disrupt. According to Blazer, vice versa. Since it can't. Tashma, here comes a raya, where it seems to say that even according to Blazer, the Ziva Ba'inus can disrupt the Shiva Nakim, Tashma. And ultimately we're going to see that you're right, according to Blazer, we delink the two. According to Rabbanon, we maintain that linkage. Tashmat. So you're right, so times 3 we check the origin to confirm that it's not an Einis. But B'Ravi is in Beit Kenoisai. Fourth time around, meaning once he's an established Zav and he's now observing Shiva Nakim, and Ziva shows up, we don't need to confirm anything. My lav lastir, we're assuming because either way it will disrupt the Shiva Nakim. So you see, it disrupts even though it doesn't establish. No, I'm not talking about disrupting a Shiva Nakim. I'm talking about a side point to determine whether this droplet is metame when you carry it, whether it has that tumah. And that's only when it came naturally. But even Rabbi Eliezer, at this point in the Gemara, would seem to agree that it cannot disrupt Shiva Nakim, just like it can't establish Ziva. Tashma, because here comes a final raya that according to Rabbi Eliezer, it does disrupt Shiva Nakim, even though it's an Einis. And even though it can't be used to establish Shiva Nakim, the Ziva. Tashma b'shlishis, Rabbi Eliezer, Beit Kenoisai, according to Rabbi Eliezer. So the third Ziva, we have to check and see how it happened, because Einis is a discounting factor. But Ravi is Ein Beit Kenoisai, fourth time around, meaning whatever shows up during Shiva Nakim, no need to check. You know why? Says Rabbi Eliezer. You know why times 3 we have to check and times 4 not? Because the point of checking is to determine whether it's going to establish the carbon amarti. I applied bdika on times 3 is to confirm whether he's chayav a carbon, which only happens once he's an established full-blown zav with 3 naturally occurring ziva. But the fourth time around, which pertains to disrupting Shiva Nakim, there's no point in checking because either way it's going to disrupt. So clearly, we see that Rabbi Eliezer delinks the two. Ella, you're right, Rabbi Eliezer tifshet, Rabbi Eliezer, you've established that they're delinked. The davar she'ein goyim soiser, even a phenomenon which cannot establish can disrupt. So this would apply to Ziva Ba'inus. It can't be used to establish, but once he's on the track and he's trying to observe Shiva Nakim, he has a Ziva, disrupts the Shiva Nakim, even if it's Ba'inus, and likewise by the Isha. Even though Dam of Kishi cannot establish Ziva, but can disrupt Shiva Nakim of Ziva, the Rabbanon might, but contra Rabbanon, we're not sure. Are they linked or not? Tashma comes a final raya. Tani Avua, he presented a Bryce, Avua the Rabbi Abin presented a Bryce. Ma goram lo zoivai. What did the Ziva experience bring about? What did it cause? What did it trigger for this man? Shiva. The requirement for Shiva Nakim, right? Shiva, likewise, if it occurs during the Shiva Nakim, he sees another, there goes his Shiva Nakim. As opposed to Keri, which is that Zera material, doesn't have such a strong impact. What would Keri trigger? Just a one-day tumah. Likewise, so Yemechad, if it occurred during the Shiva Nakim, it only has a one-day effect. End quote. Now, what does he mean? That Ziva is Goyrem Shiva. What does that mean? My Shiva. Ilam de Shiva. Does it mean to say that it's Matame the person for 7 days? Why does he have to use the Lashon Goyrem? It causes, it brings about. Hi, he should have simply said, Ma Zoiva Tame Shiva M'Baile. The Ziva makes him tummy for 7 days. Straightforward. Why the extra, Lashon of Goyrem? Elala. Apparently, he's making a point that Davar HaGoyrem Soiser. The two things are connected. An experience which can cause, which can establish, is a factor at play, and therefore, if it occurs during Shiva Nakim, disrupts the count. Davar HaGoyrem Soiser. Davar She'enu Goyrem. Enu Soiser, as opposed to something which doesn't have that power to cause, to establish, to bring about this new Ziva status on the person, Enu Soiser likewise cannot disrupt. Shma Beno. That confirms that in fact the two things are linked. And likewise, the dam of a koishi, since it can't establish her as a zava, it can't disrupt her Shiva Nakim. Amar Abaye, na'aktida. In fact, we have a established halacha. Ein koishi soiser beziva. The dam of koishi cannot disrupt Shiva Nakim. If you mishkachas tana dam soiser, you'll discover some tana somewhere that it does. That must be who? Rabbi Elazar, who delinks the two elements. Although dam of koishi cannot establish, but he's enough of a factor to disrupt Shiva Nakim. Okay, so conclusion. We have a question. Something which cannot really establish status, can it disrupt? This pertains to dam koishi of a isha, to ziva ba'inus of a man. According to Belazar, the answer is yes. According to Rabbana, two things are linked. Goes hand in hand. You can't establish, you can't disrupt. Here comes a new discussion. So we have an isha who's already in a zava from before, and then she gives birth. And she's already counting her Shiva Nakim, hoping to get over the Ziva experience, and suddenly Mazel Tov, there's a birth. Does that disrupt or not? So the question really is whether the Tumas Leda that accompanies the Leda, is that enough of a disruption to stop the Shiva Nakim and cancel them, or not? Tanya Rabbi Marina is Aimer. Tanya Marina is Aimer. Ein Leda Seisera Spesiva. You should know that the birth experience will not knock out the Shiva Nakim. Okay, so she started counting, and she gave birth. Those days that had been counted do not get deleted. Now the question is, how far do we go? I understand those days are not deleted, but these days here that follow the later, let's say she has no dam now, but she's still experiencing tumas later for the next week or two, can they be counted to complete the Shiva Nakim? Or must she wait until she finished tumas later to resume her count of Shiva Nakim? Do the days of later, the days of tumas later, count towards Shiva Nakim or not? Abaye Omar, that's going a bit too far. It's true, Enos Seres, that these days of tumas later will not cancel out the days that she already counted for Shiva Nakim, so she can pick up where she left off. But it can't. It can't be counted towards. And soon we're going to see the reason for this. Rava Amar, no, go all the way. Eino Seiseres V'oila. Just as it doesn't disrupt, it can be counted towards Shiva Nakim. So basically, you can take the same day and count them twice. He's considered the part of the Yemei Leida, part of the 2-week post-birth Tumas Leida count, and also can be counted to a Shiva Nakim. It's a double function. How do I know that's true? That the days following the Leida can be used to a Shiva Nakim, the Sanya, V'achar Titar. So this is a Zava. Once she completes the whole count, Achar, then she becomes Tar. Achar means Achar L'Kulan. It has to be following a complete, uninterrupted Tahara experience. 7 clean days. Shloi Tumah of seconds b'name. There can't be any Tumah intersecting, getting in the way. Otherwise, it disrupts your continuum. Now, that's perfectly well if you say it these days. These 2 months later days will count towards Shiva Nakim. So now you have an uninterrupted count. Hainulam have sekas Tumah. In which case you don't have Tumah interfering. And you can get your 7-day count. Ela Yamras Eina Oila. But according to Abaya, that the Yemei Leida cannot be counted towards Shiva Nakim, so you have an interruption. Afsik Leida, so 2 months later gets in the way. So how could you pick up where you left off? You have to start again. Abaya says, no issue. True, Shiva Nakim have to be 7 uninterrupted days. But they should not be interrupted by a Ziva-related issue. But here it's birth. What does birth have to do with Ziva? It's true, yeah, it's a tumah. It's like you touched something, tummy. Why would that disrupt Shiva Nakim, which is part of the personal, Ziva cleansing experience? Vabai would respond to you, Shaloite Tumas Ziva Mafsekas Ben. We can't have any Ziva in the way. But Leida has no say regarding Ziva and will not interfere. Although it will not be counted towards the Shiva Nakim, but you can pick up afterwards where you left off. It doesn't cancel the counted days. Amar Rabba, how do I know that my position is correct? That what? That the 2 months later days can be counted towards Shiva Nakim. The Sani of a Braisa as such. Mizoiva. Pasuk speaks about a Zava, who cleanses herself, Mizoiva, from her Ziva experience. We learn from the word Mizoiva that she need only cleanse herself from Ziva. No more dam for 7 days. But let's say she got tummy otherwise. She happens to be a Mitzayra. And a Zav at the same time. And she experienced 7 clean days, but she's not yet Mitzayra free. Does that interfere? No. Take care of the tzaras later. Mizava teaches us as well. Don't worry about Leida either. So if she gave birth when she was a Zava, and she has Shiva Nakim, she's out of Ziva, even though she's still in the middle of 2 months Leida. Clearly, the Yemei Leida can be counted towards Shiva Nakim. Abai tells you, hold it, we have to tweak the Braisa. No, it's only one item in the Braisa. Then Tzaras is not an interfering factor. Leave out the other. That wasn't meant to be in the Braisa. Because Leida does interfere. So Leida is different. That cannot be done away with. Perhaps Leida is closer in nature to the concept of NIDAH. In any case, only Nega is exempted, not Leida. Virava, he responds, how could we say that the Braisa is speaking strictly regarding discounting only Nega? Virava, hi mai. Rava says, let's consider, how does this work? If in fact the Braisa is addressing both. Do not worry about the presence of the Nega playing in the background, nor about the Leida playing in the background. That would explain why the Braisa mentioned both. Because although it didn't really need to go into Nega, because that's discussed elsewhere, but once it discussed Leida, it already paired it up with Nega as well. I did the Istrich Leida, since it needed to point out, don't worry about the Leida. Tana Nega, it also discussed the Nega playing in the background on account of discussing the Leida. So it sort of discussed one on account of the other. Eli Amras, but according to you, that the Braisa is strictly limited to Mizayva. The concern is only the Ziva V'loi Miniga. She need not cleanse herself of Nega. That's all the Braisa is talking about. That seems unnecessary. Because that's old news. We know that already. By a man, for instance, nega is not an issue in observing these Shiva Nekim. Hi, that's learned from the other pasuk by the man. He only needs to cleanse himself of his ziva, and he need not be concerned about his nega status still playing in the background. He responds, no, it's not extra at all. You can't learn the woman from the man. Different tracks, different rules. One pasuk is for these chad bezav for the man, chad for the bezav. It's and both are needed. Kos rachmana return to my base bezav. If only from the zav, yeah, over there there's less of a concern because to begin with, he has a leniency over the isha because, as we explained earlier, an oinus is discounted. Mishum b'loim tamei ba'oinus. The ziva occurred through an oinus is discounted. Aval zav by the woman, who is tamei even when it's an oinus. Tamei ba'oinus. Emily, perhaps she doesn't have this discount. Tzricha. That's why we need to discuss it by the isha. On the other hand, because we only discuss it by the isha, she has a leniency as well. In order to establish herself as a full-blown zava, she has to see 3 days, 3 consecutive days. It's not enough to have 3 re'iyos, 3 experiences crammed into the same day. So consecutive re'iyos do not have the same weight as consecutive yamim. Aval zav. So basically, it's harder to become a zava, which in fact is a leniency, which is not found by the man. Aval zav the matami here. He's matami beriyos by merely experiencing 3 times kibiyam as though it's 3 consecutive days. So it need not be consecutive days, even if it's all in the same day. So perhaps over there, where it's more strict, doesn't have this mitigating factor. That explains why the pasuk has to point it out on both sides of the mechitza, the man and the woman. So Abaye stands its ground. In fact, Abaye brings a right to his position now. How do I know that in fact the days following a Leda cannot be counted towards Shiva Nekim? The son, you have a brayse regarding a tumas yeledes. After the birth of a boy, she's talking for 7 days. The word dvaisa seems to be extra. Could have just said kimei nida. We know nida is tummy. So why dvaisa titma? To tell you a couple of things, a couple of halachas regarding yeledes. L'Rabbis says bayalo, to know that the husband is involved with her at that time, he gets her tumah, similar to the bayal nida. Next point from dvaisa titma, the Rabbis say leilis. She's also talking throughout nighttime. Lest we not think that it's limited to daytime, because it says Shivas Yamim. It covers the nights as well. Third thing, the Vaisat Itma teaches, L'Ravois, Es HaYoledes Bezoiv. If a woman was a Zava when she gave birth, you should know, Shetricha Shetesha Shiva Nekim, she has to cleanse herself for 7 days. Now we're assuming the Brisa means Nekim Aleda, that on top of the Tumas Leda, she has to keep an additional Shiva Nekim, so we see that the Yimei Leda do not count, do not go on the record of Shiva Nekim. No, Midam, it just means she has to be free of Dam, blood free. And even if that occurs during the Shivas Yimei Tumas Leda, it can be counted towards Shiva Nekim of the Izava. Vamar Abaye says, Abaye, okay, I'll bring you another proof that you can't count it for the Shiva Nekim. How do I know this is so? This time you have another brayse regarding Yoledes, where it says she observes the Tumas Yoledes, Kimei Nidas Devoy, just like when she was a Nida. Kimei Nidas Devoy Satitma. What's the comparison between Yoledes and Nida? A couple of things. Kimei Nidasa, Kach Yimei Lidasa. We learn that the Yimei Nida is like the Yimei Leda. Ma Yimei Nidasa in Ruin Lasiva, just like a woman can never become a Zava during the time of Nida, because any dam there is attributed to Nida. She doesn't become a Zava. And likewise, she could never use Yimei Nida for counting of Shiva Nekim following a Ziva, because again, the two things are not compatible. They're mutually exclusive. You can't be a Nida and a Zava at the same time, nor can you be counting Shiva Nekim for Zava when you're a Nida. You can't apply Yimei Nida to a Shiva Nekim, because again, the Nida phenomenon only gets introduced when she's done the Yimei Ziva. Two things cannot run concurrently. Okay, so just like Nida and Ziva are exclusive of each other, practically speaking, right? Likewise, In halacha, we say af yimei leida. So likewise, the days of leida, the days of tumas leida following a birth, she'en ruin ziva, in which case she can't become a zava. Don't allow for the ziva experience, because any dam that's attributed to the leida, right, the kisha that precedes the leida, and certainly following the leida, cannot make a rezava. Likewise, those yimei leida cannot be applied towards shiva nekim, like Abaye's shita. Ein svira shiva, oila mehen. You can't have those days towards shiva nekim. Hence, Abaye has a support to his position. Not the yimei leida cannot be applied towards shiva nekim. Rava responds, you're right, that's certainly a brisa promoting that point, but that's Rabbi Elazar's shita. We're not going with Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar has a unique shita discussed earlier in Amud Aleph, that even an experience that typically cannot be used to establish ziva. For instance, we had the example of kisha, right, the blood accompanying by birth pangs. It cannot be used to establish zava. But if it occurs during Shiva Nekim of Izava, Rabbi Elazar says it disrupts. Likewise, right? So since we see there's a delinkage between the two, likewise over here, the Yimei Tumas Leida, even though you can't establish Ziva during that period, but it can interfere. So not only will not be counted towards the Shiva Nekim, it will cancel any counted days. V'Rava Hamani Rabbi Elazar, this is Rabbi Elazar speaking, the Amar who says, Mr. Nami Sasra, guess what? The Tumas Leida will not only not count, it will disrupt and cancel the days that she had counted thus far. But we're going like the Rabbanan who say the two things are linked. According to them, I maintain that Tumas Leida is not an interfering factor at all. Just as the Leida experience cannot establish Ziva, it can't interfere. Now, just a side point on that comparison. We compared Tumas Leida to Tumas NIDAH, just like when you're a NIDAH, you can't become a Zava, it's incompatible. Likewise, during the Leida experience, Ziva has no say. Well, the first is a practical matter. Different times of the month. How could you compare? How could we learn that Yimei Leida are preempted from Ziva, just as Yimei NIDAH are preempted from Ziva? Well, Yimei NIDAH cannot feasibly become Yimei Ziva as two different entities, but perhaps Yimei Leida, where it's technically possible, maybe it's different. Can you learn something where it's physically possible from something where it's totally unfeasible? How is that a fair equation? Yep, Rabbi Eliezer. We are going with Rabbi Eliezer who says, Torah Maseches Menachos, you could. Look, if you find a certain phenomenon there, you can learn from there, even though there's good reason why it doesn't work there. That's irrelevant. We apply that concept here too. Dama who says done, and you can equate, you can learn Efsher, an area where it's practical, and we can learn from a place where it's not practical, and apply that to here as well. Don Efsher Mishi Efsher. Rav Sheshes Zamar, another answer. Al Korchani Kishin Akasav. The fact is, it's a hekesh. The Torah mentions both concepts in the same expression. It's a hekesh. It's connected. So when it's connected in the pasuk, we don't ask any questions. We don't challenge. The Torah is sending us a message. The two things are to be equated, even though there's this element of the similarity between the two. There's another version of this last discussion, just different names. Amar of Chadvei Barami, Amar of Sheshes, Rabbi Eliezer Hida Amar Danen Efsha Mishi Efsher. So it's Rav Chadvei quoting Rabbi Ami, quoting Rav Sheshes, and Rav Papa Amar. So we switch the names. Rav Papa Amar Al Korch Nekish Al Kosuv, that the Hekesh compels us to connect it to. Okay. So in conclusion, something which cannot be used to establish Ziva. Can it disrupt Ziva? Can it disrupt the 7-day Shiva Nekim count? So our conclusion was that according to the Chachamim, no, Because the two things are linked. If you're not a player to establish, you're not a factor to disrupt. According to Blazer, it's delinked. Although you can't establish, but you could disrupt. And this basically has two applications. There are two variations of this halacha. One is the dam, which accompanies the birth pangs, the dam kishui. It can't be used to establish ziva, and therefore likewise, according to Chachamim, it can't disrupt ziva. It can't disrupt the Shiva Nekiyim following a ziva. According to Blazer, it could disrupt the Shiva Nekiyim. And likewise, Tumas Leda. According to the Chachamim, it can't disrupt Shiva Nekiyim. According to Blazer, it could. Now, according to Chacham, that it can't disrupt, but could you actually count those days of Tumas Leda towards Shiva Nekiyim? Rabbi says yes, Abaye says no. Kashas HaShleisha Yom. So the Mishnah gave us an example of Dama Kishui. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 days in a row she had Dam with the Chevle Leda, with the labor pains. That would not make her a Zava. However, if there was a break in the activity, it was a 24-hour break, or according to the other sheet, a night and a day unit, that affects a disconnect. And we can no longer attribute the Dam to the upcoming birth, and now she's tummy as a Zava. The Mishnah spoke about a break in terms of labor pains. So, on Wednesday, she had no pains, but she had Dam. So even though there was continuous Dam into the birth, we don't link it to the birth because where are the pains? Apparently, it was sort of a false labor, and what transpired on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is considered a ziva triggering event, and she says, "Oh." Now comes an interesting question. Let's say during that 24-hour pause, there was nothing going on, a total cessation of pain and Dam. Does it make it better? Or does it make it worse? On the one hand, you could say it's better actually, because now you have a stronger indication that the Dam, which had arrived Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, accompanying the labor pains, were in fact related to the birth. In fact, the fact is, you see now there's no pain, there's no Dam. On the other hand, you can say the fact that there's nothing going on. There isn't even Dam today, so close to the birth. That tells you that the Dam that had surfaced Sunday, Monday, Tuesday was really unrelated to the Leda. So which way is it? You have machlokes. The question was posed. Shafsa mizeu mizemau. What if things quieted down? She ceased from tsar, from pain, and from the Dam. Mao, what's her status? Rav Chizdamar Tamei, of course she's Tamei. Because now we have an even stronger indication that what transpired the last couple of days were not related to the upcoming birth. You see the fact there was a strong sensation. Everything stopped abruptly, which is unusual. Typically, it just leads into the birth. So all the more reason to make her Tamei on account of what happened Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Rabbi Chanina Amar Tahir, no, if anything, she's Tahir. Because now, all more the reason to believe that the blood, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, which accompanied the Tsar, was in fact heralding the upcoming birth. You see, the fact is today there are no pains, there's no Dam. So that shows a greater linkage between the two. Rabbi Chanina, let me illustrate my point with a metaphor, with a mashal. Mashal to a king who is on the road, and the advanced troops who are marching ahead are telltale signs of the king that's following behind. Likewise, what occurred Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, the Dam with the Tsar, are indicative of the upcoming birth. It's all related to the birth. A king on the road, and his troops marching ahead. That tells us something about who's coming behind. These are the king's troops. Rav Chizda responds, yeah, that's if it's continuous. But if there's a pause, a big break, a big gap, like a quiet day, if anything, that throws a wrench into this theory. Rav Chizda Koshkein. Certainly, the closer you get to the king's arrival, you'll see more pomp and fanfare. Koshkin, the boy, Nafish Chayolas Tvei, you need to be seeing more of this ceremony, more troops, more marching bands, as opposed to this woman who experienced a day of absolute quiet. If anything, it delinks the events of Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday to the upcoming birth. Okay, so conclusion. We have an issue who had dam kishay for some time, and then there was a break. The Mishnah speaks about a break of tsar, with dam still being present. That disconnects it from the NIDAH. And she doesn't have the kishay discount. What if there was nothing going on at all? If anything, that's worse. Well, that makes for a real disconnect between the dam kishay and the upcoming NIDAH. And it cannot be attributed to the NIDAH. Whereas according to Reb Chizda, quite the opposite. All the more you see that the dam that was here in the previous days was connected to the tsar and to the NIDAH. The fact is, today there's no tsar, there's no dam. If anything, all the more tahar. Tanan. Let's take a look at the Mishnah in light of this machlekes. The break lasted a night and a day. Like an example, like a Shabbos, which it's a night followed by a day. We're speaking that the tsar had ceased, but not the dam. Okay, end quote. Time, let's assume the minat tsar v'leminat dam. The reason why we delink the dam kishay from the upcoming NIDAH is because there was still dam here without tsar. But if there was nothing going on, which is an indication that the dam is related to the tsar. Fact is, no tsar, no dam, tahira. In this case, she's tahir. Tifsa der Chizd, Kashan Rav Chizd says no, otherwise. Rav Chizd would respond like this: no, it's the opposite. It goes without saying, there's nothing going on Wednesday. No dam and no tsar, of course she's tameh. Why suddenly, where the marching bands go? Right? The paskulu chayolos the gamra, because the chayolos, the bands and the troops are gone. Apparently, it's unrelated to the upcoming event. Aval minat tsar. So the Mishnah need not even discuss that. It's so obvious. The Mishnah was trying to point out a chiddush. Aval minat tsar, aval minat dam. In the case where there was no tsar on Wednesday, but there was dam. Amar there, you can still suggest, perhaps, just as the dam hasn't ceased. Really, she hasn't stopped her pangs, but she's just not feeling it. It's playing in the background. She was sort of disoriented. Perhaps she's not feeling the koishi, the tsar. That's what I would think. Kamashmon, the answer is no. Since they aren't pronounced, it's as though they're non-existent. And now we have a pause in the action, which disconnects it from the NIDAH. Tanan. Here comes a kasha from the Mishnah on Rav Chanina. Rav Chanina says, when there's a double cessation, dam and tsar, it's all the more reason to make her tar. Tanan, kasha shleshi yamim. Mishnah says she's had kisha for 3 days. And those 3 days occurred, of course, within the 11 days of Ziva. And things quieted down for 24 hours. And then the Mazel Tov happened. She led this and Azav at the same time, because that's not called Dam Kishu, because of that break which disconnected the Kishu from the NIDAH. What exactly happened here? Is it as literally stated in the Mishnah that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday she had the Kishu, meaning Kishu means the Dam with the Tsar together. Wednesday there was a break in the Tsar, although there was Dam. And then there was a birth. Why do we need so many days to make her a Zav? Lamali Shalosh. Why 3 days of dam to make her a zava? Look, if the 3rd day she's seeing dam, if the quiet period was only quiet from tsar, but there was dam, so then look, you could have just Sunday and Monday, dam and tsar, and Tuesday, dam without tsar. The lack of tsar makes it shayfi, which means disconnected from the upcoming birth. She doesn't get that discount. And now you're left with 3 days of dam, which makes her a zava. Why go all the way to Wednesday, Thursday? Apparently, Mishnah means like this. She had kishi for 3 days. Kishi meaning dam with tsar, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then Wednesday, there was nothing going on. That's one case. Or there was kishi for 2 days, Sunday, Monday. And Tuesday, there was semi-quiet. The tsar was gone, but the dam was there. In both cases. So even when they were both gone, Harezu, you let this be she's considered a Zava. That's refutation to Rabbi Chanina, who says when both are quiet, it's all the more reason to make her a tar, because that confirms that the dam that was there in the past with the tsar was on account of tsar later. No, that's not how we learn the Mishnah. Learn the Mishnah the way it's said. Sunday, Monday, there was tsar with dam. Tuesday, the beginning of the day, she had tsar with dam. And then the tsar stopped midday and the dam continued. That's the case of the Mishnah. So we're not speaking that everything was gone. Only the tsar was gone. And it's still on day 3. The point of the Mishnah is, even though day 3 had started with a full kisha, but since there was a 24-hour break, she becomes tamei. Rabbi Chanina, as opposed to Rabbi Chanina told us yesterday, that if you start the day with kisha, the whole day gets sort of swept along and it's labeled as a day of kisha. No. So, unlike Rabbi Chanina, who says that by day 3, partial is considered like full, the beginning is considered like the whole thing, he disagrees. Mishnah disagrees. You need a full 3 days of kisha to qualify. So again, the kasha was, we thought that we're talking that there was a day without anything going on, and she's still a zava, unlike Rabbi Chanina. No, I'm not talking about a full day without anything. We're talking about this particular case, and it has no connection to Rabbi Chanina or Chiz's discussion. Okay, so in conclusion, during the Meziva, the dam, which is triggered by the upcoming birth, is not a factor. It does not make her a tamei. You can have 3 days of dam, but if it's accompanied by labor pains, which leads straight into a birth, she gets a discount. But if there's a significant break, that delinks the 2 events. Mishnah speaks about during that break she had no tsar, but she has dam. But if there's nothing going on, according to Rabbi Chizda, that makes it even worse. Why is it suddenly quiet? That delinks everything. According to Rabbi Chanina, no. It's the opposite. You see that the dam is so closely connected to the tsar later. And therefore she gets that discount. Okay, one more little piece. Kami Kishuya. How far back in advance of the birth can we attribute what's going on to the birth? Or maybe 40, 50 days even. Now once you say 50, isn't 40 automatically included in 50? Hashtacha Mishim Mikash, if she can have Kisha for 50, Arba and 40, it goes without saying. Or it depends who you are. Like Kasha, kan la chayla, kan la bria. If she's a chayla, a weaker person, then it's then even 50 days. Kan la bria, but a healthy woman, we cap it at 40 days in advance of the birth. Okay, all the best to you, and that's Lochara.